All right, guys, welcome to the call. We're just gonna do an end of week back test from this week. This week we've seen some great moves right from the start on Tuesday. Tuesday onwards, we've just seen major moves both on all essentially on all of the major pairs. Right, we've got AU, we've had CAD, USD, GBP, Euro, even Chef as well. So very big week here. Just to recap what it was. Essentially the volatility kicked in when FOMC brought no changes, so 550 on the Fed's fund rate, and then the following one we saw on changes on S&P as well, and then the UK brought on changes there as well, and then so did bank BOJ. Okay, so essentially this was massive to the market because I think we were all expecting some sort of raise, right? Given where we are, given that we're in September, we've only got November, um, to sort out essentially all of the inflation that's taking place, to tighten up the economy. Um, I know here essentially for UK, yeah. So this was the major one, right, where they kind of eased up a little bit because inflation seemed to be going down, right? They focused at a 7%, but it was actually 6.7, which was lower than the previous one. So that's why they went ahead and paused it. Um, but let's see what that meant on the on the forex side, and then what opportunities did this week provide? Essentially, I was paying attention to DXY because I liked where we were. All right, we were in a clear supply area. And then the way that price was coming up here, the fact that we had a week back to back of high impact news, we wanted to see what that equate to on the dollar side. Was price going to attract some sellers and then drive price down lower? Essentially was looking to make a new low below the 100, or was price just going to go and carry on with this bullish momentum and then go above and then essentially break this high here? This is still on the table for next week because we kind of like what price is doing over here. Um, Now I don't mind which one it does. I don't really care. If it carries on going up, I'll hedge in and I'll play that. If it does give us that distro and then we go lower, um then that's it. We'll readapt and then we'll see that. At the moment, I'm in place where it would benefit me if dollar kept on rising. But again, we'll see. We'll see what price does. Cool. So let's see. So when I looked at my week, I only had one in play, and it wasn't even a setup from this week. It was a setup from last week, and essentially we just had to wait. We'll go over it. Now let's just quickly do a top down on this. Actually, we don't because it's all here. Um, cool. So we can see that the AU is bearish, right? We're bearish times 2 on this. Okay. And then we broke order flow here. Essentially broke order flow here, but then we broke order flow here again. So this was maintaining order flow, and then we broke order flow. So we're bearish times 2 structure, we're bearish times 1 on order flow. And we will talk about the trade that I was able to place. And then so for me, this was screaming sells. So that's what I did. Now the play came about last week when this happened. I set up the trade last week, I believe, but then it took this week to really activate, and we'll look at it, right? So, um, okay, so it was essentially playing this order flow continuation when price made this low, and we'll talk about this area here for a second, but there was definitely divergence, right? I mean, before we even look at it on NU, but there was divergence on the AU, right? We can see here price just kind of maintain an equal high, but on the RSI we was going down lower. So I'll just label it, but then we'll talk about it later. So NU and RSI divergence. There you go. Cool. So for me, when I looked at this, I know this was our market cycle. I know that we attempt to accumulate when higher, where we saw a distribution, and then we made a new low. Okay. Bear in mind that we're bearish times 2, and then order flow now is back to bearish times 1. So as I said, this was screaming sells. Now I went inside here and I looked for the full volume candle, and for me the 73-minute stand out. Now a couple of things that I would have liked. Now my yellow is my Asian price action, the slight light green is London, and then blue is New York. Now I would have liked my gray box, which meant Thursday price action, to have been here. Instead this turned out to be a Friday. Okay, which is no problem. But I just have higher winning rates on a Thursday price action. But when we look at this was the first of the Friday. Now this should give you an indicator of what it is. But if you don't, we'll go back and we'll look at it. So the first Friday of the month, and this what it was. It was NFP, right? First Friday of the month, we will go down to the 15 just to find that candle. Yeah. Okay, so I personally went ahead and I marked it. This was my USD NFP candle here. Okay. And then we go back to our full volume candle. Cool. So just did that. That. That's my 80% of the 73-minute. And this is my 50% of the 73-minute. Cool. And then I like the fact that, we went ahead and so this was our previous order flow leg. We not only broke order flow, but we micro order flow, but we went and we broke the whole order flow leg. So now this is what's maintaining this. Okay, cool. Right now, so that's what it was last week, and then we just had to wait for price to give us that pullback. And essentially, my game plan coming into this was I'll look for a distro. So this is order flow. So in total, I'll be risking 0.10%, but I would split that into two. I would put 0.05 on the limit at the 80 here, and then 0.05 on the distro here. Okay, and then even this 0.05, I would see if I can split it between three. So I'll do one just before, and then one slightly after, slightly like this. So if price gives me a distro here, I would throw half of the 0.05% risk, simply because we are in that POI, right? And if you get a booth and then we come here, I will throw something in there. And then secondly, if price doesn't give me anything here, or if it does, then I get clapped. I'll be looking for something like that to come into here, to throw the remaining of the risk to look to go lower, with my 80% limit ready to go there as well. Now, the best case scenario for me would be to not get anything before, to throw something in that 50, but the 80 gets activated, and then we get a break, and then I would look to enter with the remaining 0.05% plus my reduced risk here, which would be 0.05%, and that would be in total 0.10%. So if this gets clapped, I'm down 0.10%, which was my risk overall. So that's what I'll look to do. And then I'll obviously carry on with the continuation because we're pro trend, right? Down to here, down to this leg here, where my lower time frame is sitting. Okay, now this, so my plan is to look for price to come in here, look to add some more sellers, and it's come in here where I'll be looking for a hedge because I'm gonna be in the buy or I'm sorry in the sell already. I can look for a buy, and then play out of that to see if this holds or if price just turns around and then keeps on going lower. Okay, so that's it. That's essentially it. Now we're gonna go ahead and place the limit because that's the one thing that we can do right now. So, and then again, we're looking, because this is order flow, I'll be taking 50% of the volume here. That already gives me a 10 to 1, so I'm happy with this. We just need to wait and so 51 to 50. And we're gonna throw 0.05 on this. We're gonna go with AUDUSD, 51 to 50. And we're gonna go 0.5%. Stop loss is 14 pips. That is 0.18 lot size. Okay. Just to entry price. I'm gonna run this up to 600. Yeah, 600 still gives me that 10 to 1. And then my stop loss, just make that 14. Yeah. Okay, as a price of that, we'll come back to this. And this, the signal is a redistro. And other confluences we can look at is where are we at? Are we at a premium or are we at a discount? So Fibonacci, so for me, this lines up, it doesn't line up perfectly. Like sometimes I would get, like that when my AT lines up very nicely. But this is about 5 pips. So I'm not gonna do anything like that. 5 pips is, so I'm just gonna put my AT there. Cool. So this is, yeah, essentially the same thing as that, right? So redistro play, bearish continuation. Right, cool. Now we just have to wait for when price comes back. And again, so nothing for me to play out of here. It's just a waiting game. Here what I will be doing is I'll be looking for my legs. Okay. Because okay, so we got this, to this, to this, up to here. Okay. Because essentially, if this breaks, we can look for the redistro as a continuation, right? Um, There you go. Okay. And then I would have an alert here. So if this, for example, breaks, we'll come back and then we'll look for a redistro to go lower. And if this breaks, then we'll look to come back up into here, for example, to go lower, and then I'll delete my limit. So that's why I'll have a bunch of alerts here and here, and then we'll just wait for price to keep making its way up. Okay, so same thing, we'll keep walking it up. That for me is just one whole leg. Okay. We're looking for that. Right now we're coming up to essentially this week here, and that's it. So we ain't got nothing to do. I would have pretty much an alert here. So we're coming up very close to it. And the alert would say for me to go down to the lower time frame and then start looking for a micro. Okay, so alert will go off at this point and then we'll have to look for a micro. Okay, so we're inside that 50. Now we'll just be looking for some sort of selling opportunity. Come. Cool. So let's see if we get anything. Okay, so at this point here, 5 o'clock, my 80 would get activated. So this session with New York, Pro Trend, on a Wednesday. Now let's see, time for setup. This has taken us. So the trade had confirmation when we made this low. This has taken us 15 days. 15 days for the setup to kick in. Cool. Now that I'm in the 80, I will now be looking for to go to reduce risk or and then to see if I could add on to it. So nothing clean at the moment, and then this was just F1C. This was F1C play here, so I don't really see anything, and then essentially I won't be looking for anything either um because obviously spreads and everything will be kicking in, and then in 30 minutes Powell will be speaking, so there's no point for me to add on to anything now. Like for example, I could add on something now and then he talks and then that's it, he just claps me out. So I'll just wait. Um, cool. So for me, I'll go to reduce. I want to say this made a new high. Yeah, so this made this ever slight new high. So I'll go to reduce risk here when we break that low. Reduce risk. Okay, so we take out this Asian lows and then we make this low. I'll go to reduce risk. So as I said, I'm not looking to get into anything, any sort of pullback, nothing. Although I think it seems like price has gone back into this 20. Oh, 11. Trying to find something in here. It seems like it. This is very clean. I mean, you could do the whole thing. Still miss out. But you can see they come back to clearly mitigate. Definitely fill up some of this imbalance in here. Okay. Alright, cool. Now we'll just be waiting for that low. Alright, cool. So here my alert would say go to reduce risk, and we'll go to reduce risk here. Matter of fact, actually, I'll go to break even because there's not much difference on this. So I'll go to break even. So essentially, we saved $25. Okay, $25 is what we're at. Just make a note. So we can play 0.10% plus, yeah, we can play 0.10%. Cool. Now, the next sort of pullback, if price does anything like that and then gives us that next pullback, I'll go to pay risk, or essentially I'll be looking to pay risk if price doesn't give us that pullback, and then just do this pay risk here. Okay, so this is Asian. So this is Thursday, price action Asian. I'm asleep, but I'll probably go to pay risk when I wake up during London, which would be, yeah, somewhere around here. Wake up and I'll pay my risk, which was $25. So far we secured $25. But then $25. Cool. Now I'll be looking for price to come back. So I want to see, actually, I want to see price do this. I want to see price breaks this, because you could see this is the whole leg after this, right? So I want to see price break this, and then we can come back into here to look for a micro to go down. And then here, I don't know, maybe I'll take some partials or something. But I personally didn't take any partials because I'm holding full volume to go to take 50% here, but for backtest purposes and trade management, we'll take 10% volume here. Wait, hold on. This is a wonder. Oh, okay. They didn't give us that though. Right, so if that's the case, let's look at, no, this one didn't give that though. Didn't give that though. Seems like he came back just for the sake of this. Cool. Seems like he came back into this for that, but it did break. Oops, it did break micro order flow here. Even if you want counting this one it did, right? Yeah. And essentially I was looking at this on Friday. So let me clear everything. Okay. If you were to do this and just that previous leg, there was a nice micro in there which I was able to look at and take, and we'll go over it. Okay. So now this for me was only reduced risk because we didn't take this low, right? If we did this low, I mean, so because the leg is still this, so I needed to take that whole thing to play back up inside. But let's look into it, because so I like AU better than NU, and we'll look at it in a second. We'll look at NU in a second, but because for me there was a type 2 inside this, and there it was. Okay, so there was essentially this. Okay, but there was also this inside, which I was able to play. There was this, but you needed to wait for this break for you to come back up inside. Now I was able to play the micro because this has come into that 50 inside the valid point of interest, and I was already in from that sell, and I was already on reduced risk. So I didn't mind throwing a little bit more risk into it. I didn't mind to be a bit more risky. Now when I say a bit more risky, I didn't go overboard because there was two things at play. It was late in a session for me, where this happened, number one, and then number two, this was a Friday. Okay, so I didn't want to hold on to large volumes or anything like that over the weekend because of obviously swaps and everything. So and then of spreads. Cool. But essentially, this was you can even go down to like a 10-second. So the 10-second was where my eyes was fixed on the Friday afternoon, and we get this nice clear distro. And again, there was slight divergence here. So after the news where AU made this low and you didn't, and there was crazy divergence because NU kept on trading higher, and then AU obviously lower than NU. But for me, the way that I saw this was essentially like this. This was our trading range. Okay. This was our price climate. This was our secondary test, and then we get a nice clear minus sign of weakness, and then from there we get the up thrust. Okay, clear up thrust with volume manipulation, take out all of these early sellers, try to get in, and then all of these early sellers from here, for example. Boom. So that's what I was waiting on, and then most importantly, we then go ahead and get a break. Okay. Now this is what allowed me to play. Now there was a couple of things I was looking at, like I was debating whether I should look at this like this, and then look at it as a type 1. I don't know, I don't know, I was looking at it like that, and then whether I should look at it as a type 1. For me, it made no difference because a type 1 and type 2 uh, just would allow me to have more risk. But it didn't make a difference, as I said, because of that Friday and coming later in the session for me. Simply because this news was at 2:45 my time. So I was waiting for this news, and it was already late news anyway. Normally, majority of the USD news that we get tend to be around 1:30 for me, which is way back here. So 1 o'clock is the open time, and then 1:30 would be somewhere around here. That would give me fairly enough chance for me to, even if I was to wait till like 2 o'clock. So that will give me about an hour, 45 minutes to go to reduce risk and whatnot beforehand. But anyways, now that's where we're at. This was the whole candle. This was the whole leg. Cool. And I like that 80 lining up with that 80. Now I'm just going to be waiting for some sort of pullback. Okay, that is fairly good enough of a pullback for me. I can then go ahead and throw my fib. And then, okay, so I can see this area is lining up perfectly, right? As well as the 50, but I'm a limit guy, so I'm going to be throwing some sort of limit on that here, and then just wait. Okay, I rounded this up to 3. And then again, same target, we'll be waiting for this low here. This low here to get taken. Okay, but we can definitely look to take some partials here and then some partials here, or like pay risk here and then partial out here on a Friday. Cool. So now we just need to wait. Again, I'm gonna go with half risk on that. Um, 280. Okay, so 3 pips, 280. 0.85. So hold on. Yeah, it was 600, wasn't it? Yeah. And then stop loss. Cool. We'll talk about that in a second. Cool. Right. So essentially, we'll be risking about again another $25 on this, and then we'll just have to play it. So my thing is to wait for this break and then see what we do from there. And then this way I'll be sitting for an entry. Okay, so coming back and then I'll wait for this area here to go to reduce risk. We can drop back down to like 10 seconds and see what's up. Cool. And then again, I've still got 0.10 to play with. So, sorry, out of the 0.10, I've still got 0.05 to play with. So if I can get a micro in there, I will throw it in there. You get something? No, nothing. Only there. Maybe now we could see something. Could get that pop up, and then we just need to wait for the break. No, no. Okay, let's look at where we are. Nothing changes for me. I still need this low, so that's what 7 pips for me to go and then break, and then go to reduce risk. Nothing else from that. Okay, so we come back. Oops, hold on. So we come back. Still nothing clean though. Maybe here. No, yeah. So we're currently coming up to the 1 hour mark from the news. So this was the news 45, and then this is 2 minutes into an hour from the news, and then from the 1 hour price did pretty much nothing but just retrace. And now I'll be changing this because we made a new slight high. I'll be doing that, and then I'll use this to go to break even. Okay, so at this point my low will go off. I would say go to reduce risk, would just be on top here, and then I would wait for this to go off. Actually, it might be a clear mitigation here. Yeah, no, I mean, we could maybe say like this 1, 2, 3 drive gives us that break, comes out of the trading range, and then this is it. I mean, that feels like I'm taking it at this point. We do come back, no, no, come to like 4 p.m. my time, so I'm done by then, essentially. Okay, cool. So now we break even. Uh, yeah, somewhere here. So, and I'll use this to go and pay risk, which will be 25 bucks. Okay, so here, pay risk 25 bucks. And we go down here. So far. Cool. Now the next leg up. Okay. So we could potentially, actually looks even nicer than 1 minute. Um, we could potentially do that, come back into this, fill up some of this imbalance, play out of that, then mitigated this to go down lower. For me now, I'm not looking to place more entries. I will just be looking for more areas to to just start closing position. Uh, so I'll be waiting for essentially we'll see where we are. So we are currently 5. So we've got about 5 hours to see if price gives us a 50 pip move in the end of New York session. So I don't know. Okay. So far, cool. Let me also see where we are. So I'll base it on 2 things. If we clear this, I'll take partials. If we manage to get a decent R&R, which I feel like this one might, yeah, if we can get a 10-1 at least, I'll go ahead and I'll clear it. Not clear it, I'll take some partials. No, I don't think we do. We get 8-1. Yeah, okay, so we the highest we get is an 8-1. And if he was holding on to it, he would be sitting at a 7-1 before, yeah, here. So 7-1, which is what he was sitting at. Let's say we take 10% off. For sure, 10%. Okay, okay, so this is at 19 bucks. Cool, so we closed out 19 here, plus 25. That's where they are, 44 here. Um, and then remaining we've got is 22.50. Cool. So that's it. And then for this one, we'll look to partial out here whenever that happens. But obviously, that's not where it was now. So essentially, price here would have given you a 8-1 as well, and then this one a 7-1. But you've got no risk on, but you've got a huge potential of another 80 to 100 pips of downside. So yeah. Okay, cool. So that was AU. Now, with that in mind, let's just quickly go over NU to see how it played out as well. Okay, cool. Now, it was essentially the same thing. 73-minute was where it was at as well, but we can see we didn't come inside there. Right, I had the limit on the 80. So where AU came higher up here, NU was short of about 15, 16 pips. And then from there, FOMC done the same kind of price action. And then there was actually divergence here. So AU trade broke it. New Zealand dollar futures broke it, and then RSI broke it, whereas the forex pair didn't break it. So there was divergence here, and then we came up inside this. Now, where AU gave us a later distro, and you gave us a slightly earlier distro before the news, which was looking good, but then we just kind of flopped. So the way that I was looking at it was here. So it was inside this POI here, and I was waiting for it to play out. I had my 1 drive, my 2 drive, and that gave us the minus sign of weakness. And then I just needed to see, and then actually I had my 3 drive. So I had 1 drive, 2 drive, my 3 drive that comes inside 50% of this. And then I had my UTAD. But as you can see, my UTAD, where AU gave us this low for me to be able to take some entry, and you just kind of climbed up higher. So this was just nonsense. It did start off well, but it turned out to be just a giant of nothing, and then it just followed suit afterwards, as well as breaking up this high. Okay, so we can see NU traded up higher, whereas AU did not. So that'll be interesting to see what follows through next week. But I was just able to just when I started to see this, I was like, no, I'm not doing NU. I just wanted to play AU. So that was it. And then just had like a bunch of so as I said, AU was much nicer. So that's why I was pretty much waiting for it to go down, but that's it. Okay, so that was the 2 forex pairs, and then carry on with this one. Now I think I'm not sure if you went over it before, but this was very clean, clean price action. Now I know we keep coming back to Vodafone, to Deliveroo, and then to BOOHOO, okay, which we'll talk about next. But those 3 has been giving us really clean price action, clean market cycle on the forefront of things. This was a nice clear mitigation, and then look at the volume behind it. Of course, it makes a new high this week. So really clean with this. Definitely want to back test and then print out. But the other one I wanted to go over was BOOHOO. Okay, so BOOHOO, we was actually looking for some buying opportunity before. I think we done a back test here in July, I want to say, yeah. So it was a very nice accumulation upon reaccumulation with nice volume. However, this just flopped and then it went sideways and then you made a new low. Right there, ever so slightly. So we know with an accumulation, mixed with a distro with a break is a redistro, right? And then all we had to do was just wait for the pullback, which we got very nicely. Now a couple of things we could look at, a couple of things we can play. So we know that this was our leg. We know that this was our entire leg from here to here. Okay. And then we know that this was essentially the full volume candle inside London Open. Yeah. Okay. And then we get a break. This could be something that we could play out of there to come back to make a new low here. And then once the pullback really starts, so right now we can see prices trying to accumulate. Once we get to like some sort of break and some sort of pullback, I can then throw the fib and then see where we're trading for some more confluence. We'll just wait on that. Okay, so for me that has started, and then okay, so we can see this is where we are. So I'll have a bunch of alerts here. Here to just see to say okay, we're inside the 50 of it. Look for some distro. For now, we'll just have to wait for price to come back up. Okay, so I like what it's cooking. Yeah, definitely like what it's cooking. And then for me, I would play something. Let's see. Okay, so this is where we are. Distro. Minus Climax. And that gives us that trading range. I don't think this is type 1. This is our, because we don't have a minus sign of weakness. So 70 test. And come into that 50, so granted this could be our UT. But yeah, definitely there is no sign of weakness here. You can definitely see this is the ice that needs to break. So let's see, I definitely need this to break at least. Okay, so it does. And we come outside. Okay, fair enough. Right. Okay, cool. So a couple of things we could do is play that. I'm not even gonna bother doing that. What is it? Yeah, okay, now I'll just play the 50 to the 80 and then 80 to here. Right, well that's started to find the right 80 now. Okay, so yeah, we'll make it 40, 80. Yeah, so that's all right. That's what I'll be waiting on. to see what we could get, and then this is our minus on a weakness. Okay, now this, we're still pretty much early into the stage, isn't it? Because we could get 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive, and then we could get that. So this will pretty much be low risk here. I don't know, I should say you're throwing 20 bucks on each. Let's go with 25. 25, 25. That's 50. And then let's just say you're willing to throw 100 bucks at this in total, but you're willing to throw 50 here. Simply if price comes up here and then does that, and then okay, you're happy. If price then claps you, so you've lost 50 and then gives you that break, then you have another 50 to play the 50% on the 25 and then the 80% on the 25 and then go down like that. So your safety price does go ahead and gives us that U-turn. Cool. So that's how I would have played it. And then again, we're looking for a new low here, which your 50 already gives you a 10 to 1, which is good. And then your 80 also goes ahead and gives you a 10 to 1, which you'll be happy with. Cool. Then we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, ooh, what's this? La create anesthesia. Anesthesia. And then from there, Betty just goes. Yeah. What a shame. Yeah, we do. Oh, we do. And this didn't even, so this one didn't even happen. The distro, however, played out. Distro played out well. Yeah. I mean, it's clean price action, just shame, a shame, a shame, a shame. Where we are. I guess the other thing, I mean, sell stops has really been working for some of us. I don't know, maybe upon that break. So you could have through 16 bucks here, 16 bucks here, and then 16 bucks here. And from that break to the 50 would be somewhere here. Make it 11 points. Yeah. And then 50 to here. Yeah. And that would have given you 5 to 1, which is I guess decent. Decent. Mm. Put that in the chat. Okay. This is our distro. There was actually clean accumulation in here with mitigation, and then we can definitely see the distro in here. And that gives us that redistro. And then same thing, rinse and repeat here, accumulation, distro, break. Cool. All right. I think that's all I had. That is all I had. There was a clean SPX play, so I'm not going to go through it, but it was pretty much order flow, open market price action. Where was this one? It was a Thursday. Yeah, it was pretty much this. I'll take a break and we'll come back. Quick scalp. But yeah, have a look at it for yourself. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.